A friend of mine sent me an email about an issue he recently experienced with his brand new Mini 3 Pro. He had just purchased it, and while making the long drive home, he stopped at a couple locations to try it out. At the first fly spot, everything worked great, but at the second location, the drone was suddenly no longer responding to lateral control. It wouldn't roll left or right. Upon arriving home, he contacted the retailer, and their response was for him to take the issue up with DJI. Now, as hard as this is to believe, DJI could not diagnose the issue either and requested he send the drone back for replacement, which he did. Under System Settings, Safety Obstacle Avoidance Action, there are 3 options: bypass, brake, and off. If you switch to bypass, another option is revealed: disable sideways flight. If this option is turned on, lateral left and right joystick control on the remote is disabled. Now, it's absolutely mind-boggling to me that neither a drone specialty shop nor DJI support knew this simple solution, but if they can miss it, other people can too. It is worth noting that if you do have sideways flight disabled and you try to roll the drone left or right, a message will pop up warning you about the disabled control. I don't believe this warning has always existed though. I do feel like it was added with a software update at some point, but I don't know that for sure. With that out of the way, it's worth looking at the obstacle avoidance options in a bit more detail to understand it better. As I mentioned earlier, there are 3 options: bypass, brake, and off. Off means exactly that: no obstacle avoidance whatsoever. With that option set, your drone will happily fly into a wall or a tree should you fly it into one. It doesn't care. Brake is also pretty straightforward. If the drone detects an obstacle in the path of its forward or backward sensors, it will put on the brakes and stop the drone from colliding into the obstruction. The third option is a little more complicated. When you flip on bypass, you're enabling the Advanced Pilot Assistance System, or APAS. Now, this feature is only active in bypass mode. When APAS is enabled, basically the drone uses its vision system to map out its environment in real time. Then, as it is flying through that environment, it will use that data to navigate safely and automatically around obstacles. The drone will move up, down, left, and right to actively avoid hazards, all while responding to pilot input. That's kind of it in a nutshell, but there are plenty of exceptions. Exceptions like using intelligent flight modes, sport mode, or certain resolutions and frame rates will disable APAS. And as a pilot, you can only direct the Mini 3 Pro forward, backwards, and downwards with APAS enabled. As soon as you move the drone sideways or upwards, APAS is disabled. Now, why is that? Well, it is simply because the Mini 3 Pro does not have any sensors on the sides or top, so it cannot guarantee safe flight if you as the pilot move in those directions. At its core, APAS is a safety system. So that kind of brings us back to the disable sideways flight option. Why would you want to use it? Well, basically, it's a bit of extra insurance. If you've enabled bypass and by extension APAS, it's probably because you're flying in a complex environment and you want a bit of assistance and an extra safety margin. By turning on disable sideways flight, you're ensuring an errant joystick movement doesn't push you into a potential hazard. I also think it can be a handy feature if you just want to fly in a straight line. By disabling sideways flight, you're ensuring subtle and unintentional sideways joystick movements will be ignored and the drone will stay on course. And a couple of other things to mention: the disable sideways flight option is persistent. So once you turn it on, it stays on until you turn it off. Of course though, this option is only enabled in bypass mode, so if you switch to either brake or off, the option will have no effect. My advice on this one is if you're going to start playing around with APAS, I would definitely toggle on disable sideways flight. That way you can be confident that APAS is enabled and is working to ensure your drone's safety while you learn the ropes. And that's it for this one, guys. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, I would totally appreciate a thumbs up. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and yeah, you guessed it, I'll see you in the next one. Yeah.